What civilization is 6 billion people trying to make themselves happy by standing on each other's shoulders and kicking each other's teeth in. It's not a pleasant situation, and yet you can stand back and look at this planet and see that we have the money, the power, the medical understanding, the scientific know-how, the love, and the community to produce the kind of human paradise. But we are led by the least among us, the least intelligent, the least noble, the least visionary. We are led by the least among us, and we do not fight back against the dehumanizing values that are handed down as control icons. This is something, I mean, I don't really want to get off on this tear because it's a lecture in itself, but culture is not your friend. Culture is for other people's convenience and the convenience of various institutions, churches, companies, tax collection schemes, what have you. It is not your friend. It insults you. It disempowers you. It uses and abuses you. None of us are well treated by culture. And yet we glorify, the creative potential of the individual, the rights of the individual. We understand the felt presence of experience is what is most important, but the culture is a perversion. It fetishizes objects, creates consumer mania, it preaches endless forms of false happiness, endless forms of false understanding in the form of swirly religions and silly cults. It invites people to diminish themselves and dehumanize themselves by behaving like machines.
Sorry, people. Fucking, who's this Bonnie Prince Bob cunt? What a twat. Right. Welcome to Bonnie Prince Bob's political party. Everyone's still invited.
Hey Europe! Scotland has a message for you. From our people, our universities and our businesses. From the bottom of our hearts. Our beautiful country is open to you. Our arms are open. Our minds are open. And yeah, sometimes our clouds are open too. But don't let that put you off. Europe.
It's being described as the longest bridge of its type in the world and the biggest infrastructure project in Scotland in a generation. The state-of-the-art Queen's Ferry crossing over the River Forth has been completed and will open to traffic on Wednesday.
A new driver who drove the wrong way down a dual carriageway.
Wank, wank, wank. Good guy.
As I enter the final stage of my attempt to become leader of the world via the entry point of securing the Edinburgh Central constituency in the Scottish Parliament, I thought it only respectful that I share some of my values and interests for both my prospective constituents and for anyone else who has been paying attention to my assault on the established order of things over the last month or so. As with last week, I have the great pleasure of joining Edinburgh's premier broadcast and streaming facility, Limbic TV, from where we shall serve to you a cornucopia of local talent, civic concerns and social issues. So to begin our second event of the campaign trail, I would like to introduce two time-served veterans of a diner's illustrious muso canon. Casting a reflection with the Leith connection, it is my huge honour to welcome Stephen Christie and Joseph Malik to the party.
Good evening, Edinburgh. My name is Joseph Malik, and I'm joined here with my best friend and music brother, Mr. Stephen Christie. And tonight we're performing 2 songs from the forthcoming Stephen Christie album on Ramrock Records.
I don't need you to be with me. I don't need you to define me. My love cup is running over. My romance style is over. I don't need you to hurt again, 'cause I'll never be the same again. My love, yeah, justify me. Don't justify me. Don't justify me. Don't justify me. Don't justify me. Justify me. Justify me. Justify me. I'm no longer chasing you in dreams. It never seems what it seems, and there is no God to save us, yeah. 'Cause I'm happiest when I'm home. I'm happy when I'm all alone. Don't justify me. Justify me. Justify me. Justify me. Justify me. Oh, justify me. 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 Don't justify me. Justify me. Justify me. Justify me. Justify me. Don't justify me. Justify me. Justify me. Don't justify me. Justify me. Justify me. Justify me. Don't justify me. Justify me. Justify me. Justify me. Justify me. Justify me. Justify me.
Beautiful. Beautiful, guys. Thank you. That was beautiful, guys. That was incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob. It's good to be here with Stevie to support your campaign. We believe what you're doing is a just and good cause.
I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate that. Tell me, what is the next track that you're going to play?
This next track is called I'm So Tired on My Own, and I'd like to personally dedicate it to my best friend at the piano there, to dedicate it to the spirit of his mother.
Oh, thanks, Joe.
That's beautiful, man.
Thanks, Joe. I'm missing her just now.
more than I can see. Oh, I'm so tired on my own. Ain't no ordinary day. My love has seemed to walk away. Ain't no ordinary day. My love for you is always waiting. Oh, I'm so tired on my own. I'm so tired on my own. I'm so tired on my own. Oh, I'm so tired on my own. Oh, I'm so tired on my own. Oh, I'm so tired on my own.
Oh, you're not joking, man. That was incredible. That was incredible.
Thank you very much, Bob. It's a great honour to help you with your campaign. All the best.
Much appreciated, Joseph. Joseph Malik, Stephen Christie, songs from the forthcoming Stephen Christie LP on Ramrock Records.
Ne manquez pas sur Canal+, la série qui a conquis le public français, le cauchemar psychologique d'un homme qui réalise que son pays est tombé entre les mains d'une bande de clowns nationalistes. Les aventures de Bob et de l'anglais politique. Chaque mardi sur Canal+.
Why are you standing and what's your beef with Angus Robertson?
We've got a lot of problems, and one of the main problems we have, in my opinion, is the political class themselves. And nobody greater typifies a sort of careerist politician as Robertson, you know? He's just a total and utter careerist politician. There's nothing dynamic about Angus Robertson. He's went down to Westminster. He's made a lot of money. He's sat down there. He's enjoyed his time down there. He's so opposed to it. He went down there for nearly 20 years, you know? And now he comes up here and thinks he's just going to walk in here because he went to primary school here, you know? It's like, you know, well, there's... So what?
Tell me a bit about Edinburgh Central then. What are the major problems facing Edinburgh Central?
It may be beautiful, but it's also inaccessible for a certain class. And that's how they like it. They want it like that, right? Stop lying. Stop pretending that, you know, it's welcome for everyone. It's like, no, it's not. You know fine well what you're doing. They know what they're doing, you know? Why not just be honest about it? Why not just say, yeah, we prefer the riffraff weren't in the city centre? Because that's what's really going on here. Do you know what I mean? That's what's going on. Is it a joke? Is it a comedy? You're like, no, it's not comedy. This is actually our society that we're talking about. What is a problem? Independence or drug deaths, where you've got absolutely outrageous amounts of people dying. We're supposed to be this, oh, we're in the new Scotland, and that's the bit, the hypocrisy, the kind of the incongruence between the kind of like, you know, the wide, it's, you know, it's almost nauseating. The kind of like the sort of exceptionalism, the idea that, oh, we're better than this kind of thing. Oh, fucking no, we've got the worst drug deaths in Europe. See that? Locked. Look in there. Look in there. Look at those people having a lovely time on the grass. Isn't it nice? You don't get the council renting out this place, do you? To Underbelly. We don't see Underbelly getting to set up any shop in here, do we? But they'll sell the gardens to Underbelly, won't they? You see this, yeah? Look, 5 minutes from Princess Street, and you got this, all these beautiful, incredible gardens, all these private gardens, you know? It's just like idyllic, isn't it? Wouldn't you like to walk around that in your city? Look at those people up there, having a lovely little chat and that, yeah? Look at that. You need a key. You need a key to get in there, boys and girls. No riffraff in there. There's 2 sets of these gardens right along here. Beautiful, manicured, lovely lawns. Yeah, that's for all the people that live in these houses, except no one lives in these houses because all these houses are owned by folk in London. They rent them out, or they're never really here. Like, most of them are empty. If you wanted to squat somewhere, I would suggest coming down here because, like, I'd say about 80% of the gaffs here are empty, like, you know, locked. Beautiful sunny day, but you can't get in there, yeah? Private property in there. What about that, eh? When your Princess Street Gardens is getting hoored out for crappy concerts with Sydney Devine and that down here. It's beautiful manicured gardens. Gorgeous, isn't it? Just incredible. So if you vote for me, I'm going to commandeer all the gardens between Queen Street and Abercrombie Place and Heriot Row. Queen Street Gardens, all these beautiful manicured gardens. And I'm going to open them up to the public of Edinburgh. I'm going to take them away from the exclusive use of the wealthy and the rich. I'm going to make them for the people. I'm going to let the people of Edinburgh enjoy these beautiful green spaces. And that's a promise. If I get elected, I'm going to open up these gardens. They're not going to be locked to the public any longer. So, as we saw there, with the mercury rising in the capital last week, it struck me just how much green space in the city is inaccessible to us mere mortals. This is completely at odds with a town that regularly sees its public space rented and disrespected by wealthy London companies such as Underbelly. In fact, it is due to the continual abuse of the city by the clowns that we have in charge that led me to run for office. But I am by no means the first local soul to attempt this feat, and joining me now is an actual legend. A social worker, civic campaigner and erstwhile candidate for Edinburgh Central, I'm delighted to welcome Katrina Grant to the proceedings.
Hiya Bob, thanks
Katrina,
for inviting me.
Thank you for joining my political party.
No bother, I'm glad to be here.
So, you were once a candidate for Edinburgh Central.
I was in 2003. I stood for the Scottish Socialist Party.
And how did you fare?
I think I did all right. I got 9% of the vote, 2,500 votes turned out. It wasn't for me, it was for the Scottish Socialist Party. But yeah, I think it was not a shabby campaign.
A pretty decent achievement, there,
Aye,
definitely.
I was pleased with it.
We were looking there, we see that we have these gardens, these large gardens in Queen Street that are private property for the wealthy, exclusive use of the wealthy, and they're often really empty. There's hardly anyone ever in them.
Princess Street Gardens actually was once the private gardens of the big houses in Princess Street, and the people of Edinburgh, the old towners, didn't put up with that. Oh no, they climbed over the fences, they climbed over the gates and occupied it, and that's how we've got Princess Street Gardens open to us, me and you today, because the people of Edinburgh, the old towners, weren't putting up with that nonsense.
So Princess Street Gardens were once private.
They were indeed, yes.
And the people in the city said, we're not into this.
No. We've not got gardens. Have you got gardens?
Right, OK, I see. So a lot of people were saying to me, how could you possibly do this? How could you manage to get these gardens back in or into the public ownership? Well, it's kind of already been done in the past then, hasn't it?
There's a precedent there. If there's a precedent, there's always a way, I suppose.
So the local people of Edinburgh have actually got formed for this. Aye. So we should just look to history, really.
Aye.
And
storm them.
That's it. Storm the Queen Street Gardens.
Storm the gardens.
I'm not saying I'm going to be leading
No,
not
me neither, but I'm just saying it could be done.
We're just putting it out there that it's been done in the past, like, you know.
It has indeed.
So you have been a civic campaigner on many local issues. This city has been poorly run. There's no two ways about it. It's shocking,
absolutely shocking what's happened. And I think, like, I used to live in the Canongate and I left. I had a family. I only lived in a one-bedroom flat. Couldn't get a bigger house, couldn't get another council house there. No council houses left, no, even housing associations. I had a 2-3 bedroom house, had to move down Easter Road. But the council gave planning permission for council houses on the Canongate to be demolished. Right. Actually knocked down, not just sort of like knocked down. There was 18 flats that were knocked down, built by Ebenezer McCrae, who was the city architect in the 1930s. And do you know what Ebenezer McCrae is famous for? Bet you don't.
No, I don't.
For police boxes. He designed police boxes. You wouldn't have Doctor Who without Ebenezer McCrae. And Ebenezer McCrae, he built basically the schemes of Edinburgh, all the old schools, built beautiful tenements, really good quality tenements that still stand today that never got knocked down. And the council just get planning permission, knocked down 18 flats on the Canongate. Ernie, who was a coalman, lived there all his life, and, you know, like put in sheltered accommodation.
Shocking.
Aye, it's brutal.
And this is social cleansing, there's no two ways about it.
Absolutely, it's like the deleting of the working class out the Old Town Edinburgh. The Old Town Edinburgh was always where the working class had lived for a long time. In fact, there used to be slums at one point.
Yeah.
And when immigrants came, where people came to the Highlands from Ireland, wherever you came to the Old Town, and that's where they worked and that's where they lived. And you can't, for love or money, you can get like working class person just live in the, Edinburgh Old Town now. It's no for people, it's for people to, it's a destination and it's a UNESCO heritage site that's not looked after properly.
It's been turned into a profit-making enterprise.
Absolutely, turned right over for profit.
Yeah. Tell me about Jock the Cock.
Well, I used to live in the Canning Gate, as I've already said, and we had a campaign, Save Our Old Town, and you can look at our old blogs, Independent Republic of the Canning Gate, we set that up.
Fabulous.
And we used on top of the Canning Gate venture, and it's now going to be a fancy hotel run by Brewdog, or
by who?
Brewdog.
Brewdog,
and they wanted to knock down the Canning Gate venture. It was a listed building, it's a C-listed building, and they wanted to knock it down. And then one day, my kitchen window looked out over Canning Gate venture, right over to Common Hill. And where the hell's a weather vane? So Jock the Cock's a weather vane, a beautiful big cockerel. He's been there since, the turn of the last century, and he was gone. I was like, right onto my phone to my neighbours, look out the window, where's Jock the Cock? So we ran round and they'd flung him in a tip. And what they were doing was removing the architectural features so it no longer was a listed building. So you could say this is just an old trampy building. Can we knock it down now? So we created a right story. We were on the phone to the World Heritage, we were on the phone to councillors, we were on the phone to our MSPs and all that. And then some architect came round and an archaeologist came round, and they agreed that they were going to keep Jock the Cock, and when they did something fancy at the building, they were going to put him back. And that was about 10 years ago.
Where's Jock the Cock now?
We want to know, where's Jock the Cock?
We want to know where Jock the Cock is.
I'll tell you what, it's a challenge to Brewdog. You better get Jock the Cock back up there, because that's where he belongs.
It's a small measure they can make, for bringing this rather repugnant enterprise into the Old Town. The least they can do is pop Jock the Cock on top of that.
The very least they can do. That's where he belongs.
There's an attitude, isn't there, with the people that are in the council and the people that run the city, that really it's just there to be solicited, isn't it? That seems to be the way that they look at it. It just is, where is there somewhere that they can turn into a profit-making opportunity?
Yeah.
What can we do to stop this?
I do think it matters who gets elected, but I think actually it's who gets elected, the political parties. You go along to these, I don't know if you've ever been to a planning committee meeting, oh God help you. But actually there's all this paperwork, there's no danger the councillors can read it all. And they just listen they get campaigned by the developers. They get lobbied, they go for drinks with them, they go for meals with them and all the rest of it. When we were in Save Our Old Town, we caught them, they had a party down down the Market Street, and we turned up to, we weren't invited. We didn't think that was very nice. So we brought our own party, and we brought mince pies, and we brought mulled wine, and we sang Christmas carols for the developer and the councillors while they went in, and the planning officers, people employed by our council tax money to go to the party.
How were you received with these
well, there was a gentleman called Trevor Davis. I think he was the chair of the planning committee, and now he's a professor now through in Glasgow. He's a prestigious gentleman, and I think he'd had a wee drink before he came. So we were singing a wee song to him, especially written for him, and made up on the night for him, really. It was a daft song. And he stuck his middle finger up first to give us the middle finger salute.
Right.
And we got on the front page of the evening news and all that. A wee bit of scandal at the time. We liked to create scandal at the time. But actually, the point was well made. They were having a party with the developers.
Yeah.
That's not right.
No. I am a candidate in Edinburgh Central. I've been running for the last 4 or 5 weeks there, and it's been a difficult job, I can say. Just even the candidacy has been an effort. Would you have any advice for me?
Have loads of fun, but actually noise them up. Because, I stood the Scottish Socialist Party, and I mean, at that time, the reason I got all the votes was the time of the Iraq War, really. It was a protest about that. I'm under no illusion about that, and different times and things. But actually, I think, we've had quite, there's a history of rebels in the city centre. James Connolly was one of them.
Absolutely. Where do you see socialism fitting into our contemporary Scottish political landscape?
Oh, it just has to fit in. If we can't even find a place for socialism, then we're up a gum tree, really. It's had a few knocks, socialism, but I think, I think Scottish people, it's there in them.
With the independence movement, there is a sense that many people, like to feel that they have some socialist ideology about them.
Aye.
And I think that they need to harvest that a little bit more and cultivate that a little bit more in them, and maybe even do a bit of reading and a bit of research into what this actually means and how far they can take it and how they can implement it in their communities and how they can start to try to implement it at a governmental level.
I think absolutely. SNP gave us free school meals. That was a Scottish Socialist Party bill.
That's right.
They gave us free prescription. That was a Scottish Socialist Party
right.
bill.
That's right.
In the early days of the Parliament, we got done away with warrant sales. Warrant sales had been about for hundreds of years in Scotland, and it was to humiliate poor people, and we'd done away with them. So actually, even if you don't get to win the things, the SNP took on our best policies and their normal policies. People actually think they're SNP policies. I don't care whose policies they are, because they're good for people. It's about equality. It's about making things fairer.
So Colin Fox's lone protest at the end of the
he's still standing.
We've got to give respect to Colin Fox, because he's there. And I think it's important. I think that presence is important.
That should be a campaign in Edinburgh or in Scotland, but like in Edinburgh, for all the companies to pay people a decent minimum wage, £10 an hour.
Yeah.
Who disagrees with that?
No.
It's not a lot. You think it's a lot, but it's not really once you work it all out.
No.
And if you're paying rent in Edinburgh, it's absolutely nothing. I mean, you would still be living in poverty paying rent like that in Edinburgh, but Edinburgh rent's ridiculous.
That's right, but we want it to be known as the Colin Fox minimum
Well,
wage.
it should be, absolutely. It should be on your wage packet, because that man has stood there.
Colin Fox is...
I mean, I'm not in the Scottish Socialist Party anymore, but, you can't say he's no tried.
No, and respect to him for that.
Absolutely.
Katrina, it's been a total pleasure for you to come in and talk to me this evening.
Oh, thank you for asking me.
And hopefully, you can't actually vote for me, can you? But
no,
I know you've
I'm getting everybody I know who can to vote for you.
Yeah, I'm hearing this. So listen, thanks so much for joining me,
No, great, thank you.
Katrina Grant.
So what brought you out here today?
Well, to oppose the lockdown.
Me, I believe it's a New World Order Agenda 21.
We break the lockdown, we meet together, we don't social distance, we're not wearing masks, and we're sharing information about what's going on.
Systematic breakdown of what it means to be human.
People like me and other people talking out against what's going on have been silenced. They've been ridiculed and they've been smeared.
The welfare of humanity is always the alibi of tyrants.
That battle's been lost. I mean, the bus has left. I mean, you know, 0 hours contracts. I mean, people talk about wage slavery, but that's about as close as you can get to my idea of what a wage slave would look like. Yeah. Short of actual slavery, it's the ideal state for capital, for their workforce to be in. A state of permanent quasi-desperation, and, you know, a workforce you can switch on and off with absolutely no complaint, and, you know, pay them minimum wage with no benefits. And that's ideal, you know, so they can respond to the market, you know, supply and demand, and, you know, maximize their profit. There isn't a coherent Labour opposition. What happened in the last election was just so wearyingly predictable. I mean, what a fantastic manifesto Corbyn came up with, you know. I mean, fantastic in the sense of unbelievable, you know. I mean, really good. I would have absolutely supported it, but there was no way it was ever going to play with any kind of British electorate. I mean, he was just crucified by the media. And of course we've got Keir Starmer, you know. He's just that middle of the road British politician, you know. He's much more organised than Boris Johnson, and he'll be a totally palatable alternative for the capital class, and you know, they'll embrace him with open arms, knowing that he's not going to disturb the status quo one jot. He's a shill. He's a capitalist shill, you know. I'm sure that his heart's in the right place and all that, but fuck his heart, you know. There's almost not a labour market anymore. There isn't going to be any jobs. What do you train to do now that can't be done by an AI, that can't be better done by an algorithm and robots? There isn't any work for human beings. Interestingly though, I think we're probably cheaper than robots.
Hi, this in my hand is a key for the very beautiful and exclusive gardens of Queen Street. Let me see if I can still operate it. Yes, I can. I'm not up here that often, but when I am back home over the road there, I like to come here and enjoy myself and take the dog for a walk. Now, one thing I've found out is that one of the candidates in the forthcoming election is trying to take this all away from us, this privilege, and I'm absolutely flabbergasted. So, I'll be lending my vote to Angus Robertson to stop this abomination. Both gardens are fantastic. They're beautiful cut grass, manicured lawns, and the last thing we want is a bunch of fat schemies leaving McDonald's wrappers all over the place, or drinking tins of super lager. This is what we hire these gardens for, to be bloody exclusive in the first place. I'm literally choking with ratio, and but I'd be betting Angus Robertson. Not that I believe in Scottish independence, but nor does he. So let's get our votes out for Angus and get this interloper, this strange kind of weird hippie chap from the fringes of our city. I don't know where, but I expect some bloody housing scheme or other. Anyway, let's keep these gardens not private, not privileged, but for the hard-working people of this city.
Now, this next artist is someone I had no knowledge of until last week. Joseph Malik put me in touch with her, and after listening to about 2 bars, I was immediately amazed and insisted that she had to come and join us here. So I'd like to welcome Lindsay Dre to the party. Lindsay, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm honoured that you've come to join us here this evening.
I'm honoured to even be asked. I was well taken when you phoned me. It was like, yep, I will do it.
Joe had sent me some of your music and I had a little listen and I was just absolutely captivated. I thought it was beautiful, you know?
Thank you.
So, you're going to play 2 songs for us this evening. What's the first song called?
It's called Spirited Away.
And what's Spirited Away about?
I wanted to write a song to resonate with those who find it a little difficult to fit into their surroundings, their society, their community. I was born with a cleft lip and palate. So as a little girl with a face that didn't quite look right, I was kind of left out in a lot of things. However, the irony being, whenever I went to the hospital, I always found people that kind of looked like me. So it was just a little homage to putting your energy out, put your vibe out there, and your what's the saying, your vibe attracts your tribe. So
well, I can tell you your face fits in perfectly here this evening, so I'm looking forward to this.
Thank you very much. Will I just start?
Go for it.
take you on a little journey. You will have to walk through an open door. It all starts with a carpet ride. Let us soar amongst the fireflies. A small smile is all it takes, and the dark loneliness it slowly breaks. I'm watching giants as they stand tall. The whispering forgotten tales of the great fall. My story doesn't fit into this place. My sword against my soul I'll embrace. Every path has its arrows, its lipstick marks and broken parts. You've got to look between the lines. I'll see you again in a different light. Legends fall when lost to the sun. Nothing compares, simply beautiful. Let us slip into the darkest of skies and have no fear, my dear. We will dance in the sunrise. My story doesn't fit into this place, and my sword against my soul I'll embrace. And every path has its arrows, its lipstick marks and broken parts. But we've got to look between the lines. I'll see you again in a different light. Let me take you on a little journey. Oh honey, you will have to walk through an open door. Oh, hold on tight and don't you dare let go. I'm going to show you things you've never seen before. Thank you very much.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was gorgeous. So you've done a mini album, was that right, with Chris Grieve?
Yes, actually, yes. We've just Chris Grieve very kindly put up with me for a couple of months and produced my wee album. It's called She. It's available on Bandcamp right now under Lindsay Dre. It's SHE. There's a couple of wee tunes on there. I actually did a track called I Came to Say with Bex Anderson on harmonies. And she just totally, oh my goodness.
Smashed it.
And some. She just took my song. I cried the first time they played it back. I cried. I just felt like, like reverting back to the whole putting your vibe out and finding your tribe. And, excuse me, working with Chris and then having Beck come on and putting those vocals on, it was just like, oh my God, I found somebody that Yeah, we made a baby.
Brilliant, brilliant. A sonic baby.
A sonic baby. It was gorgeous. It was so beautiful. So we were, I was really, but very, very, very privileged.
Fabulous.
And supported all the way through it. Chris was magnificent. Matty Folds again, he mastered it for me, which was a real honour to get the chance.
You were recording that well down at the Young Father studio in Leith, were you?
Yeah.
Right.
I wasn't aware of it, and I'm kind of glad I wasn't aware at the beginning, because I think I would have bottled it. But I just went, no, they can hear me, no way.
It's an interesting little complex.
It really is.
Yeah.
So when
it used to be a sauna, did you know that? It used to be a knocking shop.
No way, really? No way. It's freezing as well.
I only know that through hearsay, like, you know what I mean? I'm not getting any direct experience from it, like, you know what I'm saying?
But I did get a little fanish when I saw Young Fathers come in. It was just like,
yeah.
So I had to keep it cool, like, hi guys, how
brilliant. And you're Edinburgh born, but you're elsewhere now, right? Where are you now?
Oh, I'm in Livingston.
Oh, come on, Livingston. You're practically a Ouija now, then, aren't you?
Oh God, the West Coast. Oh, it's building up.
Glasgow starts at the Maybury roundabout now, like, you know.
I'm saying nothing. I'm going to actually say I'm from Leith. I'm even going to say I'm from Edinburgh.
If in doubt, say you're from Leith, like, brilliant.
Exactly.
What's the next track that you're going to play for us?
My next song's called Blue Demons, and this is about mental health.
Well, it's a mental health evening. We're going to be talking about mental health a little bit later on, so very apt indeed.
This is about living with, I've got something called drug-induced psychosis.
Right.
Basically, not only was I blessed with being born with a facial defect, but at the age of 23 months, I was diagnosed with a myelosarcoma, which is a childhood cancer in my abdomen cavity. And as a consequence of having two major things in my childhood, I was in drug-induced quite a lot. And the consequence of that is there's certain medications that can trigger psychotic episodes. So I wrote a wee song about it.
Brilliant. I'm looking forward to it.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. It's
You're
an honour.
more than welcome. This has been an absolute treat. I'm going to go home to the kids like, hey, Mum's happy.
That's great.
Thank you very much. This is Blue Demons, and enjoy.
Thank you.
Take me by the hand, I want to dance. Hey, hey. Close your eyes, enjoy the ride. We are going to look inside. It's only when I'm sitting in the dark, the shadows, they come out to play. Little demons wearing blue, I can hear what they say. Ooh, I can hear what that they say. Ooh, I'm lost in the world of my own, a little place I call home, yeah. Oh, well, the voices, they sing sweet lullabies, but no one can hear them cry. No. It's only when I'm sitting in the dark, the shadows, they come out to play. Little demons wearing blue, I can hear what they say. Oh, I can hear what that they say. Oh, forever etched in my mind, a forgotten place, a once gone mind. Yeah. Oh, it's only when I'm sitting in the dark, the shadows, they come out to play. Little demons wearing blue, I can hear what they say. Oh, I can hear what that they say. Oh, it's only when I'm sitting in the dark. Little demons wearing blue, I can hear what they say. Oh, I can hear what that they say now. Yeah. I can hear what that they say. Thank you.
Wings Over Scotland has a huge vested financial interest in Scotland staying in the Union. If Scotland was independent, I'd have no material. Wings Over Scotland wouldn't exist. I'd lose something like £750,000 from people on the internet.
How can I win this election if the printers don't deliver my leaflets on time? How can I win this election if the printers from Dundee don't deliver my leaflets on time? Angus Robertson, the carpetbagger, versus Bonnie Prince Bob, the local boy and bona fide shagger. How can I win this election if the printers from Dundee don't deliver my leaflets on time? You fucking Dundee cunts! Where the fuck are my leaflets? Where the fuck are my leaflets?
And as we can see, the printers in Dundee did finally deliver the leaflets.
Welcome to Jamaica. This is Pablo. If I ask you to vote for Bonnie Prince Bob, it's for a reason. This guy is always coming to Jamaica here and checking with us poor people. This guy is a very good guy. This is Jamaica, this is nature, this is breadfruit, this is banana. And this is Pablo. Yes, Rastafari. Come on, this is Pablo. So I'm saying to you, if you vote for Bonnie Prince Bob, it will be good for you. You people have a king in your country and you don't know. This guy spent all his time from England to Jamaica just to support a lot of us here in Jamaica. This guy is a prince for real. And you have an opportunity to keep him where you are. So I think you should do this and lend him your vote. Bob is like a breadfruit tree. He's always there for you. Very intelligent, very calm. He is a people person. So I'm asking you just to give him a chance. Yeah, to prove himself to you like he has done here for us in Jamaica. I am very true about what I am saying, and I am here to prove to you about what I am saying. This guy is always thinking about us back in Jamaica. After I met him, maybe about 10 years ago, he's always thinking about us. This is your own. Don't give away your country for an island. It's not good. You already are a country. Don't sell yourself to an island. This guy comes from where he's from. Bob is from there, so you have to be with who you know. Stick to the evil that you know, as we say in Jamaica. That's the best thing for you to do. Rastafari.
In my election video, I promised that if elected, I would indict Capital for the degradation of human mental health. This is because I believe modern society is making us ill. It occurred to me just the other day that our phones have a function on it called Do Not Disturb, which begs the question as to what the default setting is on these devices. Joining me now to discuss the mental health crisis in our young people is psychotherapist and school counsellor Alison Matu. Alison, thanks for joining me. Tell me, do you think that there is a greater instance of mental health issues with our young people than there perhaps was in the past?
Yes, definitely. I think that social anxiety has become endemic amongst our young people, and unfortunately poverty and mental health go hand in hand. So there is a greater need now than ever for the right kind of services to be in the right areas, and that means all areas, deprived areas, not just where the wealthy can access these services.
What are some of the issues that young people seem to be having?
Well, in general terms, most of them will come for a variety of reasons, but they can be grouped into areas such as social anxiety, suicidal ideation, self-harming, eating disorders, and gender identity issues also.
What are the ages of children that are having these kind of issues?
Predominantly, I work with children ages 10 through 18 years old, and these issues are rife amongst children in their early teens. So they really do need a lot of support.
What's happened in our culture that has altered this? What do you think has become prominent in the culture? Is there something in particular that has caused this?
I honestly believe that social media has had a detrimental impact on the mental health of young people because they just can't escape from it. And to pick up on something that you just said, in cognitive behavioural terms, any therapist will tell you that it's known that we disturb ourselves, and that idea of disturbing ourselves by constantly looking for validation through our phones and through other people can be highly pervasive and upsetting for young people because they don't really have any other centre to base their identity on other than comparing themselves to their peer group, and they do this through social media.
So they're in a perpetual state of comparison all the time when
Yeah.
they're looking at themselves and they're imagining how they're seen through the eyes of others via their social media.
Yes, indeed.
What do you think can be done about this?
The government, I believe, does have a handle on it to an extent. They know that more funding is required for all schools because not all schools have a counselling service, and there needs to be a counselling service in all schools, especially in deprived areas, and for lower income families to be able to access these mental health services. So more funding and more counsellors as well, because school staff themselves are just buckling under the pressure being put on them by children who go to their guidance teachers, for example, telling them that they're suicidal or telling them that there's domestic abuse at home, and the teachers are there to teach. They're not actually there to provide mental health and well-being services.
It's not an easy thing to do, is it? It's not an easy thing to admit that you need help.
No, it certainly isn't, and that applies for adults as well, of course.
Does the stigma still exist, do you think, if you have issues, mental health issues with yourself? Do you think that people still feel, especially men, for example, that, you know, I can't admit to having a problem, there's, you know, I'm supposed to be a man?
Yes and no. I think there's certain movements now. Social media, ironically, has helped to move this idea forward that men have to be men and men don't cry, which is absolute rubbish. You know, we all need to be in touch with our feelings, and men are opening up a lot more and men are talking to men. Funnily enough, when men come to counselling, you have a hard time shutting them up, you know, because once they start and to open up, then they really want to and like to express themselves. But it's just that society has taught them that's not the That's not the right thing to do.
Are you saying that men talk a lot more than women then when it comes to counsellor?
They can do, yes.
It depends who the counsellor is though, right?
Absolutely. Come to a chatty person like me, then they're going to be okay.
Right. Alison, thanks so much for coming and joining me, yeah?
Thanks for having me, thank you.
Alison Matu.
To today's result that Rangers got the important win against St Mirren last night as well?
I don't care about the Rangers really. I don't care. It's just about us. Huh? Rangers won. Good for us. Good for the Rangers. I don't care about us. I don't care about the Rangers.
Come on. Hot, sicker than your average. Pop a twist cabbage on instinct. Niggas don't think shit stink. Pink gators.
Try to make me smile.
Ronnie, tell me something about your childhood.
When I was 8 years old, my father, I was an only child, my father gave my mother the only birthday present I remember him ever having given her, which it was very sweet. He came home from his office, and this time he had remembered. He brought a little box nicely wrapped up, and I was standing there, my mother was sitting, her father gave her, and she undid it, and he had remembered her birthday, and she opened it, and it was of cotton wool, and inside it was another little box, and she got that and opened it, and inside that it was a set of a complete set of 10 of his toe-nail clippings. And it wasn't as though there was anything else to come, that was it.
What did your old dear say?
It was her face that I don't know whether I can do it, but it's printed in my memory. Never forget.
Well, it's less than a week until the Scottish election, and I think it's safe to say that excitement is equal only to the prospect of another full lockdown. Let's be honest. Let's not pretend that we really care here. The truth is, most people really don't care about this. But for the people who are fixated and paying attention, this election is about the very lifeblood of independence. It's about the very soul of the nationalist movement. The disillusion and dissatisfaction within the angry, frustrated and resentful group of people formerly known as the Yes campaign is genuinely quite spectacular. Certainly compared to how many of us viewed things just 7 years ago. The darkest irony of all is that during the effervescent campaign of 2014, the forces of mainstream media darkness portrayed our movement as angry, bitter and divisive. We knew they were lying. But would they be lying now? And who to blame? The SNP for pulling the plug on Yes Scotland before anyone had even had breakfast on the 19th of September, destroying thousands of community networks before instigating a hugely successful neoliberal programme of consolidation, scorching the earth of all opponents, innocuous or otherwise, in the process. A print media clique who in just 7 years have shifted from overt hostility to benign bedfellows of a one-party state. The licence fee wage thieves of BBC Scotland, who are either unwilling or incapable of producing any culture worthy of human consumption. Or perhaps it's the angry incel of Bath, a 50-odd-year-old sexual invert whose significance to so many Scottish independence supporters is in itself the perfect indictment on the parochial, pathetic and tragic reality of how meaningless and ineffective this movement has become. A man who, from the jewel of England's kingdom, the spa town of Somerset, has managed to not only grift hundreds of thousands of pounds out of the pockets of well-meaning independence supporters, but has, in recognising the lack of vision and party division within the SNP, managed to manufacture the most disgusting and abhorrent campaign of bigotry and hate towards some of the most vulnerable groups in our society. I don't know enough about trans people. I don't know enough about women's safe spaces. I don't know enough about nefarious autogynephile billionaires profiting from hormonal pharmacology. I don't know enough about self-identification, and I don't know enough about pronouns and how to use them. But I do know enough about bigotry to know what a bigot is. And Stuart Campbell is a bigot. On the whole, drag queens are not sexual perverts or predators. And the LGBT youth of Scotland deserve respect. Coming to terms with your sexuality can be a deeply difficult and challenging life experience that most of us are fortunate not to have to endure. In the last 5 weeks of this campaign, many people have assumed because I oppose Angus Robertson, a neoliberal party political careerist, that I am somehow therefore acquiescent with their anti-woke views. They are mistaken. My philosophical discomfort with identity politics is due to the structural omission of class, because it is only through the working class that we can challenge neoliberal capitalism and its degenerate agents of the political class. But this does not mean that I am anti-woke, because what I see as anti-woke is just manky, dirty, filthy, horrible homophobia and bigotry. And if that's what you want for your brave new Scotland, then go for it. Because whoever you vote for next Thursday, if this is a country that won't tolerate diversity when it's still tied to the Union, then what kind of a shithole is it going to be if we ever get our freedom? Good night.